Maria wiped the sweat from her forehead as she helped Mrs. Eleanor into the worn wooden rocking chair by the window. The old woman's frail hands trembled, and her breathing came in short, shallow bursts. Maria bent down, fixed the blanket over Eleanor's legs, and smiled gently. "Is that better, Mrs. Eleanor?" she whispered softly. The elderly woman nodded, her eyes tired but kind. Maria worked long shifts as a caregiver in a small town on the outskirts of Chicago. She was barely holding her own life together. Her husband had passed away 3 years ago, leaving her with debt and 2 young children to feed. To make ends meet, she had taken every caregiving job she could find. Most days, Maria went home exhausted, too tired to cook for herself, but she never showed it while she was with her patients. With them, she was patient, tender, and endlessly kind, because she believed that every person, no matter their age or frailty, deserved dignity. But she never imagined her small acts of compassion were being watched. One winter evening, as snow gently blanketed the streets, Maria arrived to care for Eleanor. She found her struggling to hold a cup of tea. Without hesitation, Maria knelt down, held the cup for her, and began telling her stories about her children's school day. Eleanor's lips curved into a smile, her face softening as if the stories breathed life into her fading spirit. "You remind me of someone," Eleanor said weakly. "My son, when he was little, he had the same kindness in his eyes." Maria smiled politely but said nothing. She had heard countless families speak of children who rarely visited, too busy with their own lives. Maria never judged, she simply filled the void with her presence. What Maria didn't know was that Eleanor's son had returned to town a week earlier. A powerful CEO, worth millions, he had built an empire far from his hometown. But success had taken him away from his mother. He had missed birthdays, holidays, and countless quiet moments. Guilt weighed heavy on his heart, but he had been too ashamed, and too busy, to return. That night, hidden in the shadows of the hallway, he watched Maria spoon-feed his mother gently, speaking words of encouragement with every bite. "You're stronger than you think," Maria whispered to Eleanor. "We'll get through this together." The CEO's chest tightened. He saw the way Maria treated his mother, not as a burden, but as a treasure. It was something money had never bought. Days passed, and Maria continued her work with the same quiet devotion. Then came a snowy afternoon when Maria herself broke down. After helping Eleanor into bed, she sat quietly in the kitchen, her head in her hands. She had just received a call from her landlord threatening eviction. Her paycheck was late, and she had nothing left to give her children for dinner except bread and soup. She didn't realize Eleanor's son was standing just outside the doorway, listening. For the first time, he saw not just his mother's caregiver but a struggling single mother who gave everything and expected nothing in return. The turning point came the next morning. Maria arrived, her eyes red from crying but her smile still intact. She knelt beside Eleanor, combed her hair, and hummed softly. "I don't have much, Mrs. Eleanor," she whispered, "but I'll always give you all the care I can." At that moment, Eleanor's son stepped forward. Maria froze, startled to see a tall, well-dressed man in the room. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice trembling. "I should have introduced myself sooner. I'm David. Eleanor's son." Maria quickly stood, embarrassed. "Oh, hello, sir. I didn't know anyone was here." David looked at her with a seriousness that carried both regret and gratitude. "I've been watching. You cared for my mother as if she were your own family. And all this time, I wasn't here." His voice broke. "You gave her love I failed to give." Tears welled in Maria's eyes. "She deserves it. Everyone does." David took a deep breath. "You don't know this, but I run a company. I've built more wealth than I ever dreamed. But what I've seen in you, money can't buy that kind of kindness." He reached into his pocket and placed an envelope on the table. Inside was a check with enough to pay off her debts, cover her rent, and secure her children's future. Maria gasped, her hands trembling. I can't accept this. You must, David said firmly, his eyes softening. This isn't charity. This is gratitude. You gave my mother dignity, love, and peace when I wasn't there. I will never forget that. And from this day on, you're not alone anymore. From then on, Maria's life changed. She continued caring for Eleanor, but now with the peace of knowing her children were safe and her burdens lighter. David visited more often, repairing his relationship with his mother, inspired by the example of the woman who had nothing yet gave everything. In the end, Maria realized something beautiful. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness ripple out in ways we can never imagine, touching lives, healing hearts, and opening doors we never thought possible. And for David, the millionaire CEO, he learned a truth his fortune had never taught him: love and compassion are the real wealth in this world.